big super collider in CERN. It's a great big circular thing. Right. Why is Jetpack Joyride an endless runner? Why is it an endless runner? Because it's a great big super collider that they made before the CERN one. Except it's huge and it takes up half the world. And that's why it's endless.
Wait, what?
That's what I...
Wait, but it's not endless because there's a wall.
It is endless!
He busts through a wall. Where is that? There's gotta be some end there.
Yeah, at the beginning. That's it.
I mean,
One wall, that's it. Everything else is endless. Hello, I'm Bob Jones. I have been working in different types of artistic fields for 30 years. I've been working in advertising, I worked in distance education at university, illustration, you name it, any kind of commercial art and illustration that you can imagine that comes from the art world. And I spent 18 years working in computer games. So we did all of this. We did a bunch of stuff, pixel art for Dan the Man. We did, half of these are mine. You don't know anything at high school. You just go, I have an interest in something, I'll start. And 3 years later, you've learnt to draw, you've learnt to sculpt, animate, create, collaborate with people. So, one thing leads to another and you end up in computer games. And you end up working in console games, big name things. Then I found myself working at a place like Halfbrick, which... Oh, this is what I'm talking about. That's the newspaper page, as if it was all set in the Jetpack Joyride world. You know, that's the internal memo. And that was inspired by the crazy newspapers that you see in Harry Potter films. You know how when they pick up a newspaper and you go, the photographs are all alive and the artwork is all a combination of old school, but it seems to move. And you learn that nobody is an expert. I think that's the thing that I have learnt the most through working with creative people is sometimes you just catch lightning in a bottle. The pitfall that nobody tells you about as being an artist is that it's really hard to get a job. People assume that when they employ you that you're doing it for the love of it, and they forget that you're doing it because it's a job and you just happen to enjoy it. That's the pitfalls of creativity. People assuming you'll do it for nothing. It's nice being surrounded by things. It feels, on a bad day, it makes you feel good to be surrounded by all the things that inspired you. Everything you see some of the things that you see there, I've had since I was a child in the 70s. Like those action figures, I had them when I was a kid. I picked up those in Ash Grove at a garage sales. I've picked up half the things you see on the walls I got cheap. I didn't even buy them new. They just came from garage sales all over the place. I saw Ghostbusters when I was at high school. I loved it. So I thought, I'm going to start collecting things because I love Ghostbusters. I love Star Wars and Tron. That particular character there is from one of my favourite Ridley Scott movies that I saw when I was at art college. The advice I would give to anybody who was trying to get into the creative industry is don't ever limit yourself to a style, because it will bite you in the ass later in life. It stifles your creativity later. It is hard to get out of that style, and you really have to try and just create your own style from scratch. Learn everything. Learn everything to do with art. Learn to do everything to do with movies, books, comics, storytelling, TV, Netflix, sculpture, nature. Draw people in a cafe. Draw people in life. Get your own style. Don't follow somebody else's. Become an individual, and you will be more employable than a person who is stuck in one style. That's the advice I would give.